Hey guys, and happy Valentine's Day. I'm gonna start this video off by saying, sorry I haven't really been posting much, but family and real farming, getting stuff done has kind of been hectic lately and taken the time out of making a lot of these videos. They are kind of time consuming, but a lot of the stuff I've been doing around the farm is just kind of mundane, boring, tedious jobs that you guys probably just don't really want to watch, like hauling grain. It's kind of hard to make an interesting video just going back and forth to the elevator. There's not really much content to be made there. You've seen it once, you've seen it 100 times. So in this video, you'll kind of see some new additions to the farm. One of which I'm more excited about than any of the equipment. Although I'm excited about that too. I've got a pretty cool addition coming to the farm in due in August of 2021. So tonight we're expecting a blizzard. My wife and I just got home and went on a Valentine's Day dinner. So I'm shutting the shop and kicking heaters on and making sure all the equipment I need in the morning to clear snow is going to be nice and warm, so it'll want to start. And other than that, we're just battening down the hatches and we'll see what comes out of the snowstorm. Well, now that we've got our 5% tent in here, it's looking like Ray Charles's house. Let's see if these things are actually bright or not. Guess I can shut my dome light off. Okay, that's the low beams, which isn't too bad. What's the high beams look like? All right, I can live with this. I can definitely live with this. We'll take her for a little lap around the farm here. See if they're worth the crap or not. So far, I'm really liking them. Nothing to see here. Just stealing my buddy's gleaner in the middle of the night. Actually not taking his combine, I'm just taking his head off his head cart so I can take his head cart to go get tomorrow. Because he's got a fancy high-speed cart and I don't feel like driving 30 miles an hour 5 hours away. Well, good morning, folks. We are on our way to Denmark, Tennessee today. So got the head cart behind us and we're hammering down. Been going about 70 miles an hour, so it's a high-speed head cart and it's back there just riding like a dream. So, or at least I hope it is, because I just had all my windows tinted at 5% and it's kind of hard to tell if it's back there or not, but it is. You can hear it. So anyhow, we're hammered down, so stay tuned. Now, from the pictures I've seen, this thing looks like it's in really good shape, so hopefully it is. Because I really don't want to drive 5 hours for something that's not and turn around and come home empty-handed. But if it's not what it looks like, I'll make the 10-hour trek and come home empty-handed. But it's 5 hours down, 5 hours back, so hopefully the thing is in decent shape. It's not immaculate, but the price tag's not either. The price is right on it, so hopefully it's a pretty good buy and we'll get it home today. Well, we've made it to Tennessee and I thought this was kind of neat. This grain leg here, it's got a roof over the top of it. I thought that's kind of unique. I don't think we're turning here. At least I'm not with a head cart, but thought that's kind of neat there. We're about 10 minutes away, and we're definitely far enough south that there's cotton fields. Passing several of them. They've all got the stalks chopped, but you can still see a little bit of cotton left out in the field, so they must have ran it with a case picker instead of a deer, because from my understanding, the deers don't leave anything. Well, there was a little walk around of it, so it's not in awful shape. It's not in great shape, but for the money and for a Draper, I think I'll take it. Nothing to see here, just blocking half the pumps at a gas station in a metropolitan area. There is a whole lot of traffic and a whole lot of lanes, and I'm not enjoying driving home with this behind me through it. That, and it's pretty much rush hour here right now, it seems like, so not the most enjoyable experience. Now, this goes without saying that I am not passing up many gas stations on the way home. I'm getting about 5 or 6 miles to the gallon downhill, so it's gonna be a long ride home, and it's gonna be dark by the time I get home now too, so that'll make it even more interesting. Alrighty, it's a little dark, and of course that head cart doesn't have any lights on it at all, so before anybody says it, nobody died, so just keep your safety comments to yourself. Didn't get pulled over, nobody's dead, nobody got hurt. So, yes, I probably shouldn't have drove it in the dark with no lights on it, but we made it home. So, I'm gonna go inside and get something to eat, and in the morning, I'll give you a little walk around to the bean head. Good morning. It's cold out today, but we just got the cows taken care of. Fixed the fence in one spot and got them fed, so they're good to go. Now I'm loading up some corn. Since that auger is slow, I went ahead and got it started while I went and took care of the cows. So we'll pull the semi up here, and then I'll give you a tour of the Draper that we brought home yesterday. So I'm hooking up the auger head right now. I'm gonna pull it out by the highway and put a for sale sign on it. I'm gonna do a little walkthrough of the pros and cons of both heads, what I like better about a Draper over an auger head, etc., etc., and I haven't even ran it yet. So first and foremost, I guess the pro with an auger head is they are a fraction of the price of a Draper head. Now, for those that don't know, a Draper head basically does not have this auger. It has belts instead of an auger. Now, the auger head, they basically, they do the same job, but an auger head, you got your knife here, and then you've got this gap between the knife and your auger where in a short crop or in a tough crop, basically, you have to have so much material pushed back to get into that auger. Now the problem is it'll kind of pile up before it can get into that auger, and you'll have kind of wads of stuff going in rather than just having a nice even feed, which I'll kind of explain a little bit more when we get over to the Draper. This reel obviously serves its purpose. This just rakes the crop in. It's sitting here spinning. But on the Draper, these fingers kind of stick out and they flip the crop in and then they retract back. With an auger head, they can wrap sometimes, with my understanding. a Draper can too, but not near as bad. I think the reason that the Draper reel is like it is so that it flips it on into the belt a little bit better, but not entirely sure on that. Won't know till I run it. This thing is for sale. As you can see, the knife's in really good shape. The only problem with this head right now is this pan right here needs patched. I had a patch on it with about 5 acres to go. The patch came off of it, so that needs some attention. That's all just one sheet there. You could patch it or you could replace the whole sheet. I think the sheet's $300 or $400, and it's not a terrible job to do it. I've done it once on them, so not awful. It's in decent shape. I mean, it's not mint condition by any means, but it'll definitely cut some beans for you. A few of the fingers in the middle, there's like a little plastic, I don't know, guide, I guess, for them where those fingers go in and out as the auger turns. A couple of them could use replaced, but other than that, that thing's in pretty good shape. Now with that, I will also throw in, if somebody wants to buy it, whoever buys that head is buying that head too. That's a parts head. The only thing really wrong with it, I've robbed a couple parts off of it this fall, but the only thing wrong with it is that auger's completely buckled. So if a guy had an auger for one sitting around, there's a bean head for you. Just replace the auger and you got yourself a bean head. So up next, of course, this is the combine that's gonna run it. Now before we get to the Draper, I guess I should say I am going to add fluid in the back tires on this combine. Draper heads are heavy. They are heavier than an auger head. So I'm gonna add fluid to the back tires to keep the combine back end down. I'm also going to add a third lift cylinder. And another thing I'm gonna do, which the Draper is a 30 foot and so is the auger head. So they're the same size, but one other thing I am gonna do is put, it's basically, it's not an auger extension per se, it's just kind of a spout extension that kind of throws the grain a little bit further. You can dump on the go with a 30 foot with a standard auger, but it is pretty tight, so it would make me and the grain cart operators both a little more at ease with that extension on there. So this combine is an 06 model, so it already has the bracket for the third lift cylinder, which I don't know if we'll be able to see it here. You can see it right there. So all that does is add a third cylinder underneath the feeder house. Just kind of increases the lift capacity a little bit, but not too big of a deal. Some people say that I don't need to do that. I'd rather do it and be on the safe side, just so I don't bend a cylinder or put too much strain on the 2 cylinders that are there. I mean, if 2's good, 3's better in my opinion, but I don't know yet. Not ran thing. I haven't even picked it up off the head cart. I would start the combine, but my guess is it's dead right now. So, yeah, I don't know. So the Draper head. The Draper, I do have to get an adapter faceplate that goes here. That's not too big of a deal. Basically, this was set up for what is called a flagship series case combine. I have what's called a legacy series. So my combine has a smaller width feeder house than this. They'll still work. I've just got to get a different faceplate that basically fills in this crack and that crack so no crop comes out, which isn't a huge deal at all. So starting out, there's a few of these like that need replaced. Like a finger like that, I would just assume weld a patch over it. Obviously that one's been let go too far, so there's no bolt hole here to bolt one of these rubber pieces in. I will replace all of those, because what happens is if you don't replace them, you'll start getting crop in there and it just tumbles and tumbles and tumbles, can't get out, and I don't know, I just don't like having trash in there. They're not too bad to replace though. I do like that this one's a bolt head, not a hex key. I know on some auger heads, those are like a hex head bolt, actually exactly like that. and the only thing a hex head's good for is stripping out. So I do not like those. It's definitely a lot more complex head than what I'm used to. There's a lot going on, a lot of hydraulic hoses. They all look like they're in pretty good shape. None of them are dry rotted or anything like that, but I do think that it would be a real pain in the ass when you start having hoses blow on this thing. I do like that most of them look like they are ran where they're pretty easy to get to, so I do like that. I know on the auger heads, a lot of times they're ran inside the tube, which is just downright stupid because then you can't hardly get to them. These here are even here up on top, so I like that too. The knife on this one's in really good shape. It had new guards and a new knife put in it about, I think he said 300 or 400 acres ago, so that's not bad at all. It does have 2 PTO hookups on it. I think this one runs the knife, and then this one, all it runs is a PTO pump, which basically pumps hydraulic oil. This entire, I'll show you here, this is just a reservoir for your hydraulic fluid. Obviously it's in the full mark or within the full mark, but it's cold right now too, so don't think that it should leak, but I don't know, I've never ran it. One thing I do know that is broken, you got these 2 bolts here, these 2 springs. Over on this side, the bolt heads broke off of one of them, which isn't too big of a deal. Just put a wrench on that, back that out, and get a new bolt for it. Not too big of a deal. It does have single point hydraulic hookup, which I like. Rather than hooking up a bunch of hydraulic hoses, you hook them all up at once. I do have quite a bit of adapter work to do. Basically, it's a wiring harness for, if I could find it, let's see here. Oh, right here. So it's a wiring harness that goes on that, because my case combine, the 2388, will not work with that. So there's an adapter for that. There's an adapter for the faceplate, and then an adapter for both PTO shafts. This, somewhere or another, is supposed to set on the combine. I'm not quite sure yet. I'm not entirely sure how that goes, but it also has the mounts for if you wanted to put gauge wheels on it, which I'm going to run it and see how it goes. I don't think that that's something that you have to do to them, but it might help. From my understanding, they help in mud, so I don't know. But knife's in good shape, belt's in good shape. The belts were just replaced 2 seasons ago, so they've got a few acres on them, but not too terribly bad. But I didn't pay what new price for a Draper is. In fact, a new one, I think the new ones are going for around $80,000, and I got this one for under 1/4 of that, so got a pretty good deal on it for what it is. Pretty happy with it. I'll be happier with it when I have it on the combine and know that everything works, but until then, it's gonna sit in the shed and look pretty. So I've always wanted a Draper head, but I've never had a combine that I could put one on. The New Holland wouldn't have handled one, but since I bought this year, it will handle a Draper head. From my understanding, they're kind of the cat's ass cutting soybeans, so hopefully it is, and it is a good head. It looks like it is. It looks like it's in good shape. For the money I paid for it, I don't think I could go wrong, because like I said, I got a really good deal on it. Otherwise I wouldn't have bought it. I was bidding on one the other day, and I figured it would go for around $30,000, and it went north of 40. So I spent less than half of 40 on that. I'll just put it that way. Got a really good deal on it, but I do have to do quite a bit of work to the combine and the head to make them work with each other. I've thought about going to an 8-row corn head. I don't like driving 6 miles an hour with a 6-row corn head. It's just a really fast ground speed, but in good corn you don't have to go fast, but in the 150 bushel, 120 bushel crappy end rows along the woods, it just seemed like it was throwing an awful lot out, and it was coming out of the combine. It wasn't wasn't from the head. I had the deck plates completely closed up, so I don't know. I'd kind of like to go to an 8-row just to keep that machine a little more full, kind of run it. I feel like an 8-row would be perfect. A 6 is almost too small for it, a 12's too big, and an 8 would be just right. I did get auto steer for the Magnum, or I've got it bought. It's not here yet, but so even though I'm planting with a 12-row with auto steer, it shouldn't be too bad to shell corn with an 8. I don't think it would be too difficult. The end rows are going to be a pain, but 2 passes with a 12-row is 24 rows. 3 passes with an 8-row is 24 rows, so it still matches up. I'll just have 24 end rows. But combine is a good combine. I know that, so I'm not afraid to get a Draper. If I would ever trade combines or something would happen to this combine and I would go to a newer case combine, New Holland, John Deere, whatever it would be, that Draper will still work on it. So having that Draper around, you can switch those face plates, you can do whatever you need to do. You can pretty much make them work on anything. Well, good morning. We're in the combine today because my buddy needs his header cart back and my Draper's sitting on it. So picking the Draper off and swapping him head carts again. So we're about to see if this combine will even lift the Draper head or not. So wish me luck, because I'm going to be really sad if I spent that much money and can't pick the head up. Well, the good news is the combine does in fact pick up a Draper head, so we're going to chalk this one up as a win. But we do have to do a lot of work down there on the adapters and all that fun stuff, but it does work, so that's what she'll look like with a Draper head. Well, we're gonna have to go grab an impact gun and a couple wrenches. Gonna have to do some adjusting on the head cart to make it work, but I think it will work, so that's a plus. Gonna have to do quite a bit of adjustment though. Doesn't want to sit on there at all as it is, so not a big deal. We'll get her moved. Oh, she looks good, all shined up, all polished and waxed, and needs a good buffing, but nice and shiny. We'll get our head cart adjusted here and set the head on it and see if we can't back it back in there. Well, I guess I'm glad that this happened when I was putting it in the shed and not in the field with it, but this is still unfortunate. Got a heck of a hydraulic leak. In fact, there's probably 5 gallons of oil on the ground right now, so neat. It looks like it's a steel line that's running back to God knows where, and who knows how to snake that through. Yeah, who cares? Not gonna mess with it right now. We got all fall, all winter, all spring, all summer to get that fixed. But I am gonna get that line ordered. That's unfortunate. Crap. Yeah, that's a good little puddle there. That's unfortunate, but we did get the Draper set on the head cart and the head cart adjusted where they'll work together, so I guess that's at least a plus that we got that done. Make sure that I like where it's sitting here. I really don't. I'd rather that bar. I mean, I guess it's okay there. I don't know. We'll do some adjusting on that eventually, I'm sure, but not super thrilled how this head fits on this head cart, but I guess it'll work. Just gonna have to make sure we keep it strapped down very, very good before we go down the road with it this fall.